Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. We have Joe Chavez, CEO, President, Bold Agency with us. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure for joining you.
Mine too. All right, give us background on you. Before we get into the mega mergers, tell us what Bold Agency does, and I want to hear about it.
Bold Agency was founded in 2015, so if you've ever wanted to be in the movies or seen the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, I guess I'm quote-unquote a talent agent. So I'm no different than what Ari Gold does, what you've seen portrayed in HBO's Entourage. I've led a very unique and eclectic life. I've seen lots of things that are very fascinating, but all in my private vault, ready for my book one day.
Now, you got started off at talent, right?
I actually got started off over at DreamWorks Animation, where I worked on a little project called Kung Fu Panda. So
what'd you do with that?
I worked on the storyboard team. I was a guy that got the coffee for the storyboard artists, played video games with them, got that whole shebang. So I got to see the whole process from the early inceptions of drawings to this billion-dollar enterprise that it is now.
Cool. All right, what are you doing these days? And then let's get into the mega mergers.
So this is an exciting time in media, with Hollywood South being the way it is. There's not a lot of, per se, filming going on in Dallas, Texas, where we're sitting at currently. But in Atlanta, you have Marvel Studios. You have your Tyler Perrys. You have every movie under the sun. I think even parts of Jurassic World were shot basically in Atlanta. So in New Orleans, you have AMC Networks.
How come they don't do the same tax consequences here that they're doing over there? What's the problem?
Well, quite simply, if you're in Lubbock, Texas, you're in Amarillo, Texas, if you're in El Paso in South Texas, what do you care about showbiz? I mean, all you care about is the oil pipes that are in your territory. Yeah. And now everybody might say, well, it generates revenue. It generates revenue for Austin, Texas. It generates, for those hippies down there in Austin. So that's short and long-winded answer of why I've been hearing the same thing for 20-plus years. Yeah. Oh, why don't they? It's just never going to happen. At least as long as the hippies run Austin, it's never going to happen.
Oh, okay. All right. I get it. All right. Mega mergers.
So this is an exciting time in the history of showbiz and in the history of media and all that stuff. I just announced, $73 billion from Disney to buy 20th Century Fox or to have that video library. Mm-hmm. This genesis all boils down to a guy by the name of Reed Hastings. Now, do you know who the name Reed Hastings is?
No.
He's the CEO and founder of a little company called Netflix. So we are sitting here in Dallas. Right. Blockbuster headquarters used to be here in Dallas, and it used to be in the key ward. Back in the early 2000s, this startup company called Netflix went in to go meet with the CEO of Blockbuster, and hey, I have this company. It's going to revolutionize the way you guys do business. Within 10 minutes, as the story or the legend goes, they kicked out Reed. All he wanted at that point in time for his business was $50 million. So I challenge your listeners to go look up and see what Netflix is today. I think it's around $420, somewhere around there, per share right now. So that is what I always love to tell that story, because it's the genesis of what we see now. I mean, obviously you had AOL, Time Warner back in the 90s, and you had Yahoo supposedly had the opportunity at one point to invest in Google and all these other ones. Now, they did hit a home run with Alibaba, but there's certain misses. Careers in show business are what ifs, what could have been. So people don't want to fall into that same trap. Everybody knows that the $9.99 business model is the wave of the future, because standalone network subscriptions like your Netflix or anything.
What business model? Say it again.
Your standalone, your pay-to-click, your basically your Netflix type business model.
You said $9.99?
$9.99. That's the only reason I know that is because that's what the WWE network charges for theirs.
Oh, $9.99.
$9.99
a month. Okay.
I talk very fast sometimes. What are you going to do? I get excited by show business.
You're right. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So even for something like the WWE network, they're trading at $50 a share right now. And why is that? Well, Fox is taking all this windfall that they're getting from Disney and reinvesting it back into content. Content is king these days. I cannot reiterate that enough. Content. If you have a show and it's unique enough, it doesn't even matter if it's unique enough, as long as it can go on network television or
is it content is king or good content is king? I mean,
I'll challenge you that on some of the Bravo network TV channels.
Okay,
and I'll challenge you what good content is. Okay. Interesting content or content that drives eyeballs. More importantly, what drives revenue these days?
Yeah.
All right, which is your sponsorship deals, something like the World Cup. I mean, the U.S. isn't even playing in it, but people from around the globe are watching this in droves. And it's on your Fox Sports 1, and they won the rights from ESPN. So you have all these different entities fighting for the same piece of the pie, which draws what? Revenue up through the roof, right. Skyrocketing.
Let me jump in there with you and ask you a question about this. I was talking to my producer, Fish, earlier today, and we were saying technology is going smaller. They're trying to get into more personalized stuff, but the companies are going bigger to control it and try to get to a monopoly position or as quickly as they can. Give me your feedback on that statement.
It's true to an extent. Mm-hmm. So your traditional medias, they're hemorrhaging money, all right? Ad revenue is fleeting. It's moving more into what you're talking about, your mobile targeting, your geo-targeting, that kind of atmosphere and sphere. So eventually, you're going to have your Facebooks and your Amazons and whatever other fly-by-night media company might come up over the next couple of years, vying for those content. And you're going to see all kinds of different mergers coming that I can't even predict.
So we're going to start seeing a lot more networks come out like One American News. I mean, that's a brand new content. They're fighting to get there. But do you see that is just going to have put a squeeze on, and that's a trading term. In other words, there's not enough supply to meet the demand. Put a squeeze on the people that are producing content. Is that where I'm getting this?
Well, the one thing I've always learned about this industry, it constantly reinvents themselves. Mm-hmm. So we've gone from a point in time where there wasn't even sound in movies, right? You had your cue cards, basically, reading with it. Then it went to black and white, and then it went to color television. But one of the inventions that really revolutionized this entire industry is something that nobody ever talks about, and that's the remote control. All right?
Right.
So when you had the remote control, you were able to switch different channels. No longer were you able to just have 4 channels. You could have 40 channels. 400 channels.
So is AI going to be our new remote control?
Artificial
intelligence saying, you like this, but your behavior pattern because of our tracking on your social media footprint says you're really going to love that.
One thing that I've geared my whole entire business operation to is a little thing called interactive television.
I'm all over that. I think you're right.
We have smart TVs coming on board. So you're going to be able to interact with your television set. No different than you are right now with Alexa or your Google Chromes.
When we're all, I am like at the bit going, when can I get that?
Well, I have some confidentiality agreements, but more importantly, God willing, you will see that very soon. And I'm going to do everything in my power and work with my network to make sure that you are able to do that. And my bank account sees the result of that, which would be infinitely better for everybody, right?
I knew you win.
There you go. That's a media merger I'm looking forward to.
All right. Joe Chavez, CEO, President, Bold Agency. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba and Joe Chavez. Welcome back to CEO Money. Michael Yorba here with Joe Chavez, CEO, President, Bold Agency in studio. All right, we're talking about mega mergers and going all over the place because we're just having a great time in the studio. All right, Joe, let's get back into where we were. Now, give me some other mega mergers. What do you think is going to happen going forward? Where's the future? You mentioned interactive TV, but where's the future of viewership? What kind of shows, let me just from get level questions that I have for you, what kind of shows do you think are going to be in demand as we go forward? And I know interactivity, but give me some genres that you think are going to be hot.
One thing that you see on HGTV, that's a prime example. All right, so Chip and Joanna, you can kind of watch the shows right now, but you can't purchase any of their products. You have to go to Magnolia website, or you have to go along the lines of Target and see their lines in actual, brick and mortar type shops.
Let me jump in on that one. I had a company on the show that what they did was they had websites. So if you took a selfie, you could buy their clothes, either go to the brand of what it was or actually buy the clothes off of them. And are you thinking that that's where the interactivity is going to be that personal, where we're like, I like that shirt. Where do I get that shirt? And you hover over it, and it goes, oh, got that at Nordstrom's. Click.
Yes and no. What you're explaining, it sounds more or less what 1950s America sounded like to me. What I'm talking about is not seeing a picture or anything along those lines.
Right.
Interacting with that picture, interacting with that video, where in real time you can see what the hat is, point to click.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, well, perfect. Then we're talking about the exact same thing. Right now, what you see with a lot of these Instagram influencers or Facebook influencers.
So you can buy anything you see while it's going on.
Going on.
That's it.
More importantly, in my terms as an agent, if they're paying for that right to buy it,
right.
What does that mean? The sponsor integrates their brand in there for a certain fee or something along those lines.
You know what I think the real money is on that? The data that you pick up. Because the people are impulsive. When Rory Katalia was on, because he's got technology that does that.
Infuse, let's talk about them. They're great.
I think that the database behind that would be almost invaluable to the marketing companies.
Well, it's exactly what I've told Rory and exactly what I'll tell you and in your bureaus. If you're able to collect data without – I have this thing on this desk right here called a phone. It's not going to ring throughout the day. I'm a pretty good agent, and I do a lot of business deals throughout the course of a day. But this won't ring unless it's my mom or my brother or somebody personal to me. The reason for it, we're in a generation where we don't have one-on-one interactions anymore. We have one-on-one interactions via social media, via Instagram, via Facebook. We've become an isolated nation. That's why you might see a lot of political discourse. What you see right now,
right.
It's because people don't know how to interact with each other anymore. And if you're able to interact in a situation to where you can interact with your social media in a more in-depth way, you're absolutely right. The data that's collected from that in a non-invasive call to action, it's perfect.
What about the integration? Like, we're already through the point where we know we're going to be integrating and interacting by buying whatever it is we see live, real time. What about the integration of cryptocurrency transactions with that process? Do you think that that's going to happen in the near term? Because that's where decentralization of money, and we're talking about everybody else have money.
It depends if Warren Buffett has his way. I know Warren Buffett hates.
What does he have to do?
He hates cryptocurrency. I mean, it's just one of those things where it doesn't become, to me, with crypto, does it become regulated or does it become accepted by major banks? I still have my doubts about crypto. You might have a different opinion on it. Mm-hmm. I'm just not an expert in crypto or anything along those lines.
That's what I think. I mean, maybe I'm a little too far out there, but I think that people they want to be able to be as free as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They're sick and tired of Visa and MasterCard getting their cut like they are, and decentralization reduces the fees. And I'm thinking that when they integrate cryptocurrency into interactive, not only TV, but I don't know if they'll ever be able to do it with film, but you know what I mean, in a movie theater. But if they can do that,
it's already starting to happen in film with AI technology.
Tell me about it. What do you mean?
So AI technology, there are certain different websites or certain different apps where your phone takes like I don't know the best way to put it, like a Q code of the screen via your camera.
Yeah,
and then it integrates into real time. There's a company called Sizzle that's at the forefront of this technology. And basically, if you see, I mean, I know we're on the radio show, but if you had a can of Coke and you scan the can of Coke, guess what? It might be an advertisement or a coupon for the World Cup. Buy a 12-pack for $2 right now.
In the movie theater?
Yeah, absolutely. You know those little ads that you see right before.
I'm writing this stuff down.
Yeah. So the company that's at the forefront of that, it's a company called Sizzle. Happy to connect you. I mean, that company's doing some real intelligent stuff in AI.
Can I see this in Dallas, or is it only shown in certain theaters?
Well, it just depends. I'm happy to get. I know Studio Movie Grill, some of these other ones, they're talking to this company as well. So I don't know where they stand in terms of their deal making right now.
Right.
But the technology it's catching up pretty fast.
Wow. I had no idea. I mean, I try to stay up to speed, but obviously you're way down the road, Joe. That's good.
That's why I always say media has a way of reinventing itself. Anybody that says CBS, NBC, ABC business models are dead, these are major corporations. There's a lot of smart, intelligent people in there. So they're going to find new ways of revenue to come in. There's never going to just be a situation where these companies phase out. Like, I hate to keep using that business model, but Netflix versus Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It always boils down to that. I never say no to this business because you never know when the next great idea is going to come up down the pipeline, especially with media content. You just never know where it's going to come from.
Got it. Joe, you've been a great guest. I want you to come back. We're going to do some TV together in the near future anyway, right?
That's right. I'll bring my camera.
Okay, you do that. All right, Joe Chavez, CEO, President, Bold Agency. BoldClients.com is a website. You know, I know he's probably going to throw something at me across the table. You want to be a big star? Call Joe. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No, if you have kids, no, they're gone.
No, God, just kidding. All right, thanks, Joe.